Voices amongst the static. A glitch in the simulation. A broadcast with no origin. You have found the Phenomenauts Podcast. Hello, you gooey composite of atomic slime. You've tuned into the Phenomenauts, a bi-monthly podcast where we look at the weird, wonderful and mysterious happenstances of this and occasionally other universes. Your hosts on this wild ride are myself, Dee, the awesome Amber.
Hello.
And the illustrious Oscar.
Ahoy hoy.
Don't forget, we're on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube and Transistor, so please give us a like, follow, share, comment, download, whatever is easiest. We just love hearing from you fine folks. Alrighty, admin out of the way. How is everybody doing this fine afternoon?
I hope I'm the one speaking first. Yeah, we're having some juicy technical difficulties right now. Just for the viewers at home, you're not going to hear this because I'm going to fix this, but Oscar's on like a 5-second delay, so it's like we're like, our host, Oscar, and then we just sat here in silence for like 10 seconds.
Yeah, I was like, don't break. We'll be able to edit in so long as I don't break.
I laughed to myself a little bit. But how are you, Oscar?
I'm doing great. I'm up in Scotland. It's cold, it's wet, but the Wi-Fi's not too bad.
Oh, that's all you need? Good little bit of Wi-Fi. What about you, Dee?
I'm good. I mean, I was actually thinking earlier today of how I feel like I might have mentioned that, like, oh yeah, I'm planning to move on to a boat like a while ago on this podcast. And hilariously enough, the next time we've recorded, we're now actually recording from said boat while we're doing said podcast.
I'm on a boat?
Yes, Amber, this is a boat.
I'm on a boat?
You are.
We're recording right now, floating on water.
We are.
That's going to be great for the, bass rumble of, like, city life. Gone. All there is the smoothness of water.
It's pretty legit, not going to lie. All right, so should we spin this wheel and get the show on the road?
Hell yeah.
All right.
Let's do it.
Up first this week is...
I also add in the sound of the wheel
I'm
spinning.
glad you do. I'm very glad you do. Oscar, you're up first this time around.
Woo! Okay. So, let's start off with... I'm going to ask you a very simple question. Do you two know what plants are?
Plants. Is that like when you've got a person who's pretending to just be a random person in like a con?
No, Amber. Plants are... they're the green things everywhere that, mock us constantly.
I see.
Yeah, because they don't need to go to work.
When you say mock us...
Yeah, they don't need to go to work. They don't have higher brain function. They just get to sit around, bask in the sun. This is because they have an unholy alliance with the sky orb known as the sun. They can do this weird sort of magic transmutation, where they turn the sun's energy into food. It's called photosynthesis, but to me it's still crazy magic. They turn carbon dioxide and water into sugar and oxygen, which if you give me carbon dioxide and water, I'd probably just suffocate or drown. So, dark magic, I'm telling you now. So the thing is, I think we need to work out how they're doing this, and I think the only way we can do this if we had a mole on the inside. Maybe a member of the kingdom Animalia, just sneak it right in there, steal all the solar secrets, And I think I know just the secret. Oh, that's right.
Oh, it's the secrets of secrets.
Welcome to Secrets of Secrets. This week, I'm going to be talking about
Here we go.
a special little secret. It was first discovered in 1993 off of the coast of Japan. Costocelia kuroshima, aka the leaf sheep, aka the leaf slug, aka the salty ocean caterpillar, and that's a fantastic collection of names right there, is a species of Sacoglossan sea slugs ranging from 5 millimeters in size to 1 centimeter in length. They're really small little fellas, but maybe that's how they managed to get all of these little secrets from the plant world. Because what these little friendos do is they've evolved a very clever ability called kleptoplasty, and that allows them to retain the chloroplast from the algae they eat, and it gives them the ability to photosynthesize for a while until that chloroplast decays, which is quite crazy if you think about it. Like, that's something that if we could do would be fantastic. You know, just stand in sun. That's all you need to do. Energy powered. And they can sort of survive off of just that photosynthesis process for about, it was like up to 10 months I was reading, which is wild because their lifespan is roughly around 12 to 18 months. So, like, they can just eat a bit of algae and then, in theory, use that to coast off of the rest of their life. So, I mean, it's the closest thing.
We're just looking at some pictures of it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Oscar, you neglected to mention that this thing's fucking adorable.
I know, isn't it just? Please, at home, Google it.
Oh, he's got little wiggly bits and everything. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna die.
I know those. So those little wiggly bits, I believe, are called rhinophores, and essentially they sort of help it find they sense the chemicals in the water and allow it to find more food. But they're little.
How big are these little friends?
They're like about 5 millimeters to 1 centimeter long. They're tiny, but
oh my gosh, I'm gonna die.
I know. But yeah, these little friends, so they are the closest thing we have to Pokemon right now. It is a plant Pokemon. It knows photosynthesis. Gosh, I wish that was me. And since their discovery, they've been discovered in a couple of other places. So they've been discovered near the Philippines, near Indonesia, in the Great Barrier Reef. So they do get around. Just obviously they're very small, so they're quite hard to spot. And the thing is, they're not the only ones to have mastered the zero finger discount, if you know what I mean. There's a couple of other creatures that have mastered kleptoplasty as well. There's the nudibranchs, which is another type of sea slug family.
Oh my god, I've heard about the nudibranchs.
They look...
Are they the ones with the head thing?
Give them a quick Google, because they, again, look amazing and colourful. Nudibranchs. Nudibranchs. I can use it in a sentence as well. But yeah,
they're really pretty too.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is about things that eat light.
Hang on,
really
go back
cool.
one. What was that headline?
Which one?
Psychedelic Thieves of the Sea is how this article has defined them, and I love them.
Yeah, well, I just love the name of the process as well, kleptoplasty. Like that's that could be an excellent band name.
Kleptoplasty. I'm stealing that.
God,
God, they are Pokemon though, aren't they?
Yeah.
Well, they're what Gastrodon's based off.
Yeah, Gastrodon. Gastrodon is a really cute Pokemon.
Just to go on a tiny little Pokemon tangent.
But there's so many different colours and shapes and sizes and all sorts. Like, search nudibranchs. You won't be disappointed.
It's visually lovely. Now, there is another animal I've got written down here that can also do it, but I will say this one doesn't look as cute or colourful. I'm sure it's got its own strengths, but not looking
I'm
cute
afraid you've
and
you've sacrificed Amber to the nudibranch domain because that's all she's doing now. She's lost.
Just like the nudibranchs. I'll look at that one. I'll look at this one.
The third one I've got written here is the rhabdosul flatworms, and they kind of just look like goo. They're not really colourful or pretty. I think they're like quite small. They're sort of not visible to the naked eye. But they've also mastered this process of eating something and then stealing its ability to photosynthesize or whatnot. So it's a really big, like, well kept secret for all these secrets. Like they've all mastered it and they've just kept it beneath the waves. But maybe it's because these animals also have to exist in an environment of water, whereas if we needed to photosynthesize, we'd also be needing to consume a lot of water and CO2 and other bits. So, yeah. And also, you'd probably have to eat a lot of algae. So, yeah, I don't think we're close.
We're all going vegan now, algae.
Oh. Well, you'll have to teach your digestive system the art of the grift. Of going, here's a little cheeky plast. Just, I'm sure nobody will notice if I pinch this, and you'll come in with neon fluorescent veins. But yeah, that was this week's Secrets of Secrets. Very colourful, very clever, and I'm goddamn envious.
I love them.
I know.
There's so many different colours and shapes and
They're
sizes.
so precious.
I found my favourite one. It's blue with yellow lines.
I saw you save that one.
I saved it so I can keep it for
I'm
later.
sorry, I'm not like meaning to stare at your phone, but we are sat within a very short distance of each other. So I'm just gonna go ahead and spin that wheel again. It's Amber.
Oh boy. Yes, it's my turn. I am so ready.
You so well.
Do I sound like I'm really into it? Okay. I'm gonna tell you about something amazing and terrible. The kind of terrible truth that can't be forgotten. The kind that ages you prematurely with the weight of the knowledge.
Oh God.
The event I'm talking about happened in September 1859. And people everywhere around the world were convinced that the world was coming to an end. The Boston Transcript at the time described it as the most magnificent display ever witnessed. Now, before I explain what the event was, ask yourself, what could it be? In fact, I'll give you some examples of its effects. The event drove one poor 16-year-old girl over the course of a week to insanity, believing the end of the world to have come, ultimately resulting in her being committed to an insane asylum. The event drove a railroad conductor to rise from his bed, take out his pistol, and shoot 3 birds dead before returning to sleep. The event left telegraph operators dumbfounded as they realised they could still send and receive messages even after unhooking their power supplies, which is the equivalent of taking the battery out of your phone and still being able to use it.
Oh, this is horrifying.
In fact, operators found the signal to be stronger than when they were on batteries.
Ah.
Now that sounds super useful, but the event led to some telegraph operators getting burned and shocked when they merely touched the telegraph key.
No, this doesn't sound useful at all. This sounds cursed as heck.
Well, many who witnessed the event were convinced there was a huge wildfire burning just over the horizon. That was until the unseen fire appeared to turn green. In fact, some described columns of light shifting along the horizon, coalescing and disappearing. At the time, the San Francisco Herald said the effect was almost bewildering and was witnessed with mingled feelings of awe and delight by thousands. The mysterious lights continued for around a week, and they were bright enough that you could read unassisted at midnight. Again, the San Francisco Herald described the scene. The whole sky appeared to undulate, something like a field of grain in high wind. The inexplicable lights dominating the sky were so bright, in fact, that many people woke up in the middle of the night, believing it to be daytime, to go to work only to realise their mistake and return home and go back to bed. This also affected the wildlife, where birds would sing as though it was dawn in the dead of night, which is what happened with our railroad conductor who shot 3 larks dead at 1 a.m. in Virginia when they wouldn't stop singing. I'll explain what we know about the event soon, but understand, this was the 1800s, and without adequate explanation, many believed it as a portend to the end times. We can thank one man for shedding light on the mysterious lights seen around the globe. One Richard Carrington, from which the occurrence derived its name, the Carrington Event. Carrington was an amateur astronomer, and on the 1st of September 1859, from his private observatory in London, he witnessed something unusual as he studied sunspots. 2 patches of intense white light appeared on the surface of the sun, flared briefly, and then disappeared. Believing this to be an important observation, Carrington made a detailed illustration of the occurrence, which he would later send to the Royal Astronomical Society in a report. It turns out that what Carrington had witnessed was 2 of a series of solar flares. Just for anyone wondering, solar flares are violent eruptions on the surface of the sun, when the sun's powerful magnetic field penetrates down into the photosphere beneath the surface, briefly connecting it to the corona, which is the part just above the surface. Now, the interior of the sun is a lot more energetic. It's hotter, and it usually stays beneath the surface. So, when a corridor is opened to the sun's interior, very often, plasma shoots out at millions of Kelvin near the speed of light. This is what we call a coronal mass ejection. This is accompanied by a broad spectrum release of electromagnetic radiation, all the way from radio waves to gamma rays. So, this emission is what we mean by solar flare. Coronal mass ejections and solar flares don't always come hand in hand, and we're still learning about both, but thanks to our boy Carrington, we're on the case. So, the sun is always putting out a solar wind of energized particles and radiation, but thanks to the dynamo-like core of the Earth's magnetic field redirects this harmful wind around the planet. Unless you're at the poles, or Seymour Skinner's kitchen, where some leaks through to ionize the atmosphere, resulting in aurora borealis. Hence why someone as close to the equator as Queensland, Australia, shouldn't be able to see it. But why did people so far from the poles in Boston, San Francisco, and Queensland see dazzling, week-long auroras in 1859? Well, during solar flares, the sun releases much more material than usual. When oriented directly towards the Earth, the northern lights can be seen much further from the poles. Following Carrington's observation, a jet of energized plasma made its way towards the planet, where people again saw the awesome lights in the sky. An interesting story, to be sure. Amazing lights in the skies around the world, minor disruptions to telegraph communications, not to mention the ouchies those telegraph operators got on their fingies. But again, what was the extent of electronic technology and infrastructure in the 1800s? Telegraph communications? Was that it? It's not like today. Today everything runs on electricity. So, then what would happen if the Carrington event happened today? Less powerful solar storms have hit the Earth since 1859, in both 1921 and 1960, where widespread radio disruption was reported. And in March 1989, power was knocked out across large sections of Quebec due to another powerful solar storm. But none of these compared to the Carrington event. So, what would happen if a solar storm on the level of the Carrington event happened today? First off, we'd have some warning, as our sun monitoring expertise is much higher than 160 years ago. That being said, we'd probably only get 1 day to prepare, because that's how long it would take to get to us. And the resultant disruption, or indeed destruction, would be largely based on what we do in that day. The best prep we could do is take any and all equipment that could be damaged by solar flares offline for basically the duration of the event. So, a week or so. Basically, the power grid would be off, while some small generators could probably be alright.
Hello!
There you go. You already got a bonus from living off the grid. As you might gather, a week of global power being offline, for the most part, would be hugely disruptive, I mean, one boaty boy gets wedged in a canal, and the world economy hemorrhages $10 billion a day. Can you imagine if we had to turn off everything for a week?
Right, so here is the thing. Here's what we've like carbon dated when we wrote this episode.
At the time when we wrote this episode, that had just happened.
Relevant.
Yeah, that had just happened.
It's still relevant.
Spare you the details, but it's still relevant.
It's still largely relevant.
Hey.
This is the point at which the mask comes off and we reveal that we're re-recording an episode that went wrong.
I'm like, well, you all know just last week the Y2K bug wasn't real. Okay, but
sorry, I'm done peeling back the skin there.
But imagine that, like, a boat blocks the Suez Canal. One canal.
Mm-hmm.
Where a lot of traffic goes through, fair enough, but one canal and one boat gets
Sounds
stuck.
like a bad movie. One canal, big problem.
What? One canal, one boat?
They called it the Ship of Dreams.
But, like, if that can make the world economy lose $10 billion a day from blocking one canal, imagine if you turned off all electronics for a week.
Ruh-roh.
It would... We'd be in the Dark Ages.
Ruh-roh.
There'd be nothing. We'd not be able to do anything. All the satellites would be damaged by this solar flare and everything. We'd be fucked. And that's the best case scenario.
Mm-hmm.
In the worst case scenario, we don't prepare. This would result in the most extensive blackouts ever. Power and communication would simultaneously fail, along with most all modern electronics. Hospitals without power, planes grounded, traffic control gone, electrified transport halted, fridges and freezers would stop working, electronic payments would be impossible, there'd be no way to withdraw cash. Besides, tills are all electronic now. Everything's electronic now. Supply chains would fall apart, so looting would be rife, phones would be useless, so no way of knowing what's going on, and no way to receive emergency messaging. And this wouldn't just be for a week. If the power grid was still online when the flare hit, it would be permanently damaged, with experts estimating it could take 10 years to repair the damage worldwide. The entire world could be plunged back into the Dark Ages. And finally, just to top it all off, the Carrington Event happened 162 years ago, and some experts estimate we receive a direct solar flare like this, on average, every 150 years. We are overdue for Carrington Event 2 Electromagnetic Boogaloo.
Well, you're all welcome round here in the event of an apocalypse, because I'll still have solar power, which is hilariously ironic.
I know, right? Just sail a little bit away from the edge, and all the zombie people...
I'll just moor myself to the island in the middle of the marina.
Yeah, all the zombie people will just be like, give us your Wi-Fi, and they'll just fall in.
I mean, I'll help who I can, don't get me wrong, I just don't want to get a...
It's a small boat, come on, dude.
I'll give you a call when I'm on my way up.
Although, oh my god, I bet my solar collectors would be going insane. Like, you wouldn't just be getting solar charged, you'd be getting solar charged.
Yeah. Oh my, I hadn't thought about that. What if, like, solar panels in space, are they, like, more efficient? Because
yes,
getting blasted with solar
absolutely.
wind? That's something to think.
If they're in the right direction, that's why solar sails are an effective concept. Because you position it correctly and it works. However, I think if I'm remembering rightly, and I could be very wrong, it's a long time since I looked into this. From the last time I was looking into it, it's effectively becomes that's a very difficult variable to keep constant control of in space.
Because you're getting constantly varying wind as opposed to the light, which is very stable and just like the regular amount all the time.
Again, I could be pulling that directly out of my asshole, so who knows?
I buy it.
Yeah. Alrighty then. Well, I've got a new segment for us this week, which isn't quite so new because we have recorded other episodes since this original recording, but even so, let's keep the mystique. Shut up, D. Space news! Ooh. Space news! Thank you for that jingle, Amber. And I'm starting today with our traffic report. Okay, got a little bit of a commotion going on in the intergalactic highway due to a rogue supermassive black hole. Normally, denizens of the galactic core, they tend to sit there and commit to the big suck, but one seems to have had a struggle and gone on its zoomy way. A team studied 10 galaxies, 9 were all as expected. However, galaxy J0437 plus 2456 has a black hole moving roughly 110,000 miles an hour, or 180 1,000 kilometers an hour. You know,
Jesus.
whichever makes more sense to you. To me, it's neither, because I am not a scientist. Lead author of the Astrophysical Journal, Dr. Dominic Pace from the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics, is quoted saying, "We don't expect the majority of supermassive black holes to be moving. They're usually content to just sit around, and they're just so heavy that it's tough to get them going. Consider how much more difficult it is to kick a bowling ball into motion than it is to kick a soccer ball."
And it hurts too.
Yeah, realising in this case that the bowling ball is several million times the mass of our sun, it's going to require a pretty large kick, that. Yeah.
You get a big stub toe on that one.
Yeah. So, while it's not going to cause any immediate traffic problems, do we expect some delays in the upcoming light years ahead? And now the weather. So it's cloudy up there, up in the nebulae with a strong chance of asteroids. Thankfully, the one I'm about to mention shouldn't cause us too much trouble for now.
Oh.
At least for the next century or so. I guess we could say apocalypse not quite so now. Or at least not, by asteroid. The large-ish incoming asteroid named Apophis, or to use its big old sciencey-wiency name, 99942 Apophis, was spotted on June the 19th, 2004 at Kitt Peak National Observatory in Arizona, US, discovered by Roy A. Tucker, David J. Tholen, and Fabrizio Bonandi. It has a diameter of 370 meters, or 1,210 feet, or to use our most technical term, 221.4 Oscars when rounded.
Yes.
Woo!
Caused a little bit of a worry when in December 2004 initial observation indicated that there was a 2.7% probability that it would smash into the Earth on the 13th of April 2029, coincidentally my 31st birthday. And, to be honest, a big old smash for passing the 30 milestone. Yeah, I mean, if I make it to 30, I'm probably going to want to die by then. I mean, kind of want to die now. It all adds up.
Quite the birthday treat, that,
It
to
would.
just lie out in the grass and get fucking crushed.
Completely, cosmically, utterly annihilated. So until 2006, the possibility remained that during its close encounter predicted for 2029, Apophis would pass through a gravitational keyhole, which is a tiny, 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 tiny area of space where the planet's gravity would alter the orbit of the passing asteroid, meaning it could cause quite the threat at a later date, which really would mean apocalypse now. Or at least apocalypse due on the 13th of April 2036.
Apocalypse now, then.
Yeah. Again, another really shitty birthday. And after additional observation, the impact predicted for 2029 was eliminated, so they could go, you know what, that apocalypse, not now. You getting the theme here.
Yeah. But what's space going to get you for your 31st birthday now?
Hopefully nothing.
Okay. Maybe a shooting star. That'd be nice.
Oh, that'd be sweet. That'd be lovely, wouldn't it? So, following observations on March the 6th, when Apophis flew 10.5 million miles or 16.9 million kilometres away from us, which is apparently safe enough to not be a risk, but close enough that we could get plenty of data. We learned quite a significant amount about the asteroid, as researchers could get proper radar images at a resolution of 38.75 metres, dash 127 feet. Or to be properly scientific, 22 Oscars when rounded per pixel.
Oh, now I get it.
Which makes for a pretty grainy image, but I think you can see, when you consider the vastness of, space, the literal void, it's quite
Hundreds
impressive.
of meters of asteroid.
You're looking for a tiny rock in a big space. And apparently in 2029, we're going to get an even better view, because it'll be visible to the naked eye.
Oh, awesome.
It's not going to hurt us. It's not going to hurt us, but it's going to come close enough that you'll be able to see it with your own human eyes. So isn't that fascinating?
Oh, I actually look forward to that.
Yeah, right? David Fenocia of NASA's Center for Near-Earth Object Studies, which isn't that a great name? Near-Earth Object Studies. It's like anything that's around the Earth, that's my job. It's quoted with saying, a 2068 impact is not in the realm of possibility anymore, and with our calculations, don't show any impact risk for at least the next 100 years, at least. With the support of recent optical observations and additional radar observations, the uncertainty of Apophis's orbit has collapsed from hundreds of kilometres to just a handful of kilometres when projected in 2029. This greatly improved knowledge of its position in 2029 provides a more certainty of its future motion, so we can now remove Apophis from the the general risk list, which is reassuring because the threat of just an oncoming asteroid's a pretty big one when you stack them all up next to each other.
Don't worry, dude. There's always more asteroids in space that could smash into us.
I hope so. I keep my fingers firmly crossed. Well, I guess that's us through the topics this week. So let's have a quick word from our sponsor, because we haven't quite covered that one yet.
Oh, yeah.
Initializing universal simulation. You have unsaved sessions.
What would you do in the event of a zombie apocalypse?
What if vampires lived among us?
Can society survive without electricity?
Would you like to start a new session?
Yes, please.
Rendering complete.
Do you enjoy exploring hypothetical, world-changing scenarios with some added humor from three nerds?
Utilizing the most advanced supercomputer in the universe, the human brain.
Then join us on the Trialogue, where we run the simulations so you don't have to. You can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and Transistor, and on Twitter at @the_Trialogue.
Apologies for dropping them in right at the end, but I'm sure they won't mind because they are also us, and isn't that a strange temporal constant to try and manage?
I mind.
Oh.
Well, screw you.
But then again, we recorded the advert way before, so I guess it doesn't matter.
I mean, their time, our time, it's all time.
Yeah, it's all apocalypse now, whenever you are.
So on to our next segment, which is stuff we like. We talk about something we've enjoyed between recordings, and what I love about introducing this segment is normally I can hear Amber or Oscar suddenly become exasperated because one of them will not have thought of something. Am I correct?
No.
I'm good. I'm safe.
Oh, is Amber good?
Well, I'll let you guys go first for no reason.
And I'll always say, don't worry about it, because I always go first. Because first of all, I'm a selfish bitch, and second of all, I write a very thorough script, so I don't forget what I'm talking about. Because that happens a lot if I don't do a thorough script, because I'm very dense.
Respect.
This week, I'm going to talk about Shin Megami Tensei 5, which is a video game I've been enjoying a lot recently after having a weird sort of drought where I just couldn't really get into anything. It's a big old turn-based JRPG, and it's quite tough, which is kind of exactly what I enjoy about it. I kind of have been describing it as Pokemon, but much darker and with the occasional full frontal nudity. And that's kind of a really apt description, to be honest. Like, it's Pokemon, but it's the apocalypse, and instead of Pokemon, you have demons who have, you know, sentience and awareness and personality and things.
Tight.
Yeah, pretty tight. Lots of religious symbolism too, which is, you know, always interesting. It's also like Persona 5, which I loved. Or rather, it's more accurate to say Persona 5 is a spin-off of the Shin Megami Tensei series, and in that way I've kind of gotten into it backwards. But yeah, that was my thing of the week. So what up? Anyone else like anything?
Yeah.
Well, you can go, Oscar.
Thank you. Very similar vein in the sense it's another video game, because who doesn't love video games? I've rediscovered Animal Crossing over the holidays. So it was New Year's, because I'm up in Scotland and you're not allowed to do a load of crazy stuff. So I thought, you know what, I'll be a good egg, I'll stay in. And I ended up doing like a little New Year's event on a friend of mine's island, and we all hopped on. There was about 4 of us. I had some whiskey to go with it, so it's Animal Crossing
adorable.
whiskey. And we did a whole little thing, and then the next day I was like, you know what, I quite miss Animal Crossing. So I've gotten back into popping on maybe every other day, just checking out my island, doing it up a bit, and it's nice because
nice.
I can remember doing all the old bits, but now I'm doing new bits, and it's like it was my island before, but now it's different, but it's still my island.
Yeah, like I've heard about some of the like vast additions they've thrown in there, and that seems very, very spicy.
Yeah, there's a lot of new stuff, but it's nice because it's like a map of me as well. It's like my creative product is put into this little world, and like the ship of Theseus, it is ever changing, but it's always mine.
I like that.
What about you, Amber? What have you enjoyed?
So I'm not going to be a nerd like you two and have these Japanese video games as my one. I'm just going to have one like a real true American video game. or is it English? I'm not sure. So what I've been enjoying recently is Dirt 4.
A bit of the old Colin McRae.
Colin McRae Dut.
4.
Because, when I was younger, I remember one of the first times I was wowed by next-gen graphics was I went into a HMV and they had a 360 setup playing Dirt 1. And I looked at it and I'd never seen a game look like that before.
Sorry, just a little tiny tangent. Do you remember when you go into video game stores and they just have games set up on a console and you'd be stuck there with like a controller?
It was sick.
I miss it.
Do you remember when they used to do demos? Do you remember when they used to do co-op, couch co-op?
Hey, I have a Switch, so I still get demos.
No. Yeah, maybe it's just me. I mean, on PC, the demo is the whole game, but I'll never tell. Well, yeah, because it wowed me. And then I played a couple of laps and I was like, this is really cool. I like this. Look, you can deform the like terrain and shit. You can like crash through the fences and stuff like that. Your car deforms when you crash. And I was like, this is amazing. Oh my God. And from there, I think by the time I got an Xbox 360, Dirt 2 had come out, so I bought that. And I adored it. It was great because it wasn't just like a boring racing game where it's just all down to business and the enjoyable bit is the fact that you're racing a car. It was kind of like the menu. You're inside of an RV and you like look around to different areas to like open different menus. And there's this constant, I can only say like festival kind of like atmosphere to it the whole time. And it was just like really lively and colourful, and there was all music, on all the menus and things like that. And you can do stadium races where there's people cheering and explosions going off and fire shooting out and all sorts. It's crazy. And I was like, it really endeared Dirt in my heart. And then I tried to play 3, didn't really like it, and I just kind of fell off the bandwagon. And recently Dirt 4 was on sale for, I think I got it for 50p, or it was £1. Ooh. It was something like, it was outrageous, it was a steal. And I just thought, you know what? I think it's always good to just have a racing game in the bag, just in case you ever feel like a racing game. And the feeling took me recently, and I started playing, and I was like, this is a lot of fun. I like the rally stages where you have to like blitz it down like country roads and listen to your co-driver, and if you don't, you'll literally fly off the edge of the track and just crash.
I do enjoy games that force me to pay attention.
It's really nice because there's like a flow state that you achieve while you're racing.
Oh, I do. You know what? I've come to realize at this point, like whenever I play a video game now, that's what I'm wanting. I want flow state. Give me flow state for the love of God, so I don't have to think about the cold, depressing reality I truly live in.
Oh God!
Like the end of the Speed Racer movie. I like nothing else is important right now. Just the game. Oh.
Yeah. I used to have it with like Smash Bros and stuff like that, and I suppose because I don't play as many multiplayer games, that is usually stripped away because single player usually maybe a bit slower, doesn't demand your attention as closely unless perhaps you're playing a shooter or something like that, but I don't really play those. I play like RPGs and strategy games and things like that. So just having to like pay attention, and then all of a sudden I get into a rhythm where I'm not even listening to the corners that she's saying, like my co-driver. They're just going in.
Yeah, it's just direction. It's almost like, when you used to do comprehension in school with those books.
Yeah.
It's like immediate comprehension of the like you don't I've forgotten the word I'm looking for. You don't synthesize the information. It's just you've achieved flow state. In it goes, out it goes, in it goes, out it goes. Look, I had it with Shibagami Tensei last night. I was like, I knew I wanted to grind up to X level before I went to X Zone, and it's just one of those games where you do end up grinding a little bit. And I was just like, I think I might have died 3 or 4 times in this encounter, and I was just like, each time I was just like, reset, go again, try differently, try different variables, go again. Go, and I'm just like, come up for air after like 3 hours, and I'm like, whoo.
It's fascinating to have, like these kind of unique experiences on games. And I love that we've said 3 different games that will give 3 completely different experiences.
Yeah.
And I did want to ask, Oscar, do you find that Animal Crossing is a game that gets you into a flow state?
I wouldn't say it's a bit different to flow state, because flow state's where you're focused on the game and nothing else. I guess the closest equivalent you get is where you just you sort of enter that, like, you're just having a nice time, you're going about, it doesn't matter, there's no urgency to do anything. It's there, you go, right, I'm gonna redo my whole flower beds, And then like half an hour later, even though it's just mindless busy work, you just look at it and go, that looks nice.
That sounds very nice.
I want to try and understand the casual flow state where you just become completely chill.
So I had this with Slime Rancher, though, to be fair. This is exactly what I was like with Slime Rancher, because there's no real need to do anything in that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were things I constantly wanted to do.
I guess maybe all I could think of it being like is when we had like a server on Minecraft and the whole place was perfectly secure. You wouldn't see any monsters or anything like that. It was all lit up. It was all nice. And you're in this big like area where everyone's built something and you just kind of, I'll get in bed because someone else said, go in bed, we want to move it to daytime. And you get in bed and then you get up, go down and you just till the field, put some, seeds down, and it's just very kind of cathartic. Or if you're building a big building and it's just a lot of, right, let's do a line here and then let's climb up and do another line. It's just very kind of flow state of chill is just like absolute vibing.
Flow state of chill is absolutely vibing. Well, I guess that is us this week. And, if you've got any topic suggestions or feedback, do drop us a comment or email us on phenomenauts@gmail.com. We can even give you a shout out if you think you'd enjoy that. And thank you for tuning in. We look forward to speaking to you again soon. Peace out, folks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.